Today's video is sponsored by doggonegood.com. Recently on Facebook, I asked you guys for some questions on topics that you're dealing with your own dogs at home. You came up with some fantastic questions. Among the things we'll be talking about today are what to do when a dog approaches you and your dog on a walk. I'll give you tips on working with two dogs at once. Also, we'll be talking about what to do if your dog isn't very motivated by food or play. And I think I've got a couple of other questions in here as well. I'll have my Facebook link in the description below, so go ahead and like me on Facebook. Click thumbs up to show your support for the dog training revolution. And of course, subscribe so you see all of my future videos. Now, in the description, I'm going to have a step-by-step playlist on how to teach your dog the basics in order. It's very important to be able to get rewards to our dogs to let them know when they're doing the right thing. But a common thing that often comes up is that you don't have access to the treats. They're not within arm's reach. So what do you do? This is the Rapid Rewards treat pouch right here. This comes from doggonegood.com. I'll have a link in the description. But this is no ordinary treat pouch. It is loaded with features. It's super high quality. And I'm gonna give you a quick tour. Check out this magnetic closure right here. Do you see how there's no snaps, there's no straps that you have to fiddle with? That's really important when you're training your dog, because you want to be able to focus on your dog, getting them the reward and communicating to them how much you love what they're doing, not fiddling with straps. You can fit a ton of treats in there. Look how big that is. Now check out this compartment. This is for your extra special treats. There's a side pocket over here and you can put your clicker in here. Look at this. In the back over here, you can put your cell phone, your wallet, your keys, anything like that. Part of teaching your dog well is being able to teach them in public, bringing them around lots of situations. So when you go in public, you want to make sure that you have all the things that you need. And this is a great way to do it. And you have two ways to attach it to yourself. You can either do it with a clip right here, or you can get one of these belts. These are machine washable too. They're under $20, which I think is a tremendous value. If you get at least 12 of these bags, they'll put your logo right there or any artwork that you want. So they've always done a fantastic job for me. I'll have a link in the description, but you can visit doggonegood.com. If you enter the code FREEBELT on the view cart page, they will send you a free belt right here. Let's take our first question. This comes from Rachel. Rachel says, what do you do when an aggressive off-leash dog approaches your dog's on-leash? No easy answer here. I can't give you a perfect answer here, but I will tell you what I do when I'm in this situation with my own dogs and try and give you some tips. First thing is, if there's a known dog in your neighborhood who, say, lies in the front yard and then charges you every time someone walks past him, just avoid going near that dog if at all possible. It's also illegal in most areas, at least in America, to even allow your dog to be off lead in public. So you'll want to make sure that you immediately get that dog safe, even if he's not aggressive. A stray dog needs to be in a safe area, so calling your local animal control to get them at least secured might be advisable. With my own dogs, I have 3 border collies that I've had for many years, and we practice at the park off leash all the time. And we have dogs come up to us fairly frequently. Now, I assume all dogs are bad news when they approach my dogs. Not because most dogs are, just because I haven't met them and I don't know them. So the best thing you can do is to make sure your dogs are very tight and very solid on their training. Because if you can control your dogs, you've got control of 50% of the situation, just like that. Part of teaching a dog is making sure that you have really good communication with them. You certainly can't hope to have good established communication with a dog you've never met before or haven't worked with. For my own dogs, for example, I'll put them into a down stay immediately as that dog approaches. Now, I know that they're not gonna budge just because we practiced and proved this countless times over the years. So I'm able to create a barrier. So as the dog tries to get around me, I can pivot and move around just like that to make sure that they're not gonna get to my dogs until the person who's responsible for the dog comes and gets them. Our next question comes from Holly, and she asks, how do you teach a dog that isn't motivated by food or toys? So you'll recall those are the 2 main types of currencies with which to teach most dogs. Play meaning something like a 3 to 5 second tug of war session or toss of a ball. Most all dogs are motivated by food. And I'm gonna tell you what I think is going on in a second, but I would say that about 50% of dogs are motivated by play, significant enough to teach them some pretty awesome stuff. Maybe another 20% on top of that are mildly motivated by play. So usually when someone tells me that their dog isn't motivated by food, there are 2 likely things going on. three really. One of those could be that your dog is sick or not feeling well, or there may be something medical suppressing their appetite. But the other thing is that you're probably not using a sufficient treat. For example, you might be using really hard treats, or you might be using kibble or something like that. And those things are fine from time to time, but some dogs just don't respond to it. Other dogs will go crazy for it. So it really just depends on your dog. But I would say up the quality of your reward. You know, like for primary training sessions, I define primary training sessions as training sessions where you sit down, you really work with your dog, as opposed to more secondary training sessions, which are where you teach your dog in the moment, or they're starting to get into something, so you just get into an impromptu training session with them. But for primary training sessions, I usually use really tiny bits of real chicken, real turkey, something like that to motivate them. Now, the other reason that many people make the false assumption that their dog is not motivated by food is because their dog will not take food in a highly distracting situation. That's not to say that your dog isn't motivated by food. What that means is you put them in a situation that they're not adequately prepared for. Now, as you'll know from my past videos, if you're new, I encourage you to go through my playlist that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. We have tons of examples of dogs not taking real chicken right in front of their face because they would rather get at that squirrel or see that barking dog across the street. This is normal. Protocol in that situation is to create distance between you and the distraction and go to the last known place of compliance. The way I typically test this is I'll periodically ask my dog to sit as we get farther and farther away from the distraction. Once I get a sit at a certain distance, I now know that they're in a teachable mindset. So I hope that makes sense. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but those are very likely the reasons your dog isn't motivated by food. Now, I'm going to take you at your word, and I'm going to say that you understand everything I just said. If your dog is not taking treats as part of training, this almost certainly means you have an extremely low drive dog. There's nothing wrong with a low drive dog. They're just kind of chill, you know? They're not really into training. Dogs are like people, and many people have the personality of like, I would just rather sit here and do nothing right now. And some dogs are like that. So, you know, dogs are not computers, and we can't make them be something they are not. But I encourage you to take my tips that I just gave you, and I think you're gonna be okay, Holly. Let's take our next question. This comes from Jam. Something that I love most about doing these YouTube videos is just people from all over the world that you get to be introduced to. So Jam asks, were you once like us, having no clue whatsoever to do with your first dog? I hope that's a yes. I mean, absolutely. I've not always been a dog trainer. I know there are a lot of dog trainers out there who've been working with dogs their entire life. I didn't start working with dogs until my 20s, so I was an adult before I became a dog trainer. And absolutely, particularly I remember being very thrown off by destructive chewing and unwanted barking. And so those things were overwhelming. I felt helpless. I was like, what on earth do you do? And what I found was that when I would go and ask, this is part of the reason I became a dog trainer actually, when I would go and ask dog trainers for assistance with something like this, I was overwhelmed by generic advice in addition to complicated advice. And I think that if it needs to be complicated to learn how to teach a dog, then there's something wrong there, because it just didn't add up. It didn't feel right. It seemed like there should have been a simpler solution to many of these issues that I was dealing with. And that's part of what inspires me to make dog training videos today. I remember exactly how I felt, that overwhelming feeling of what on earth do I do? So I try and always give advice in a way that is understandable to the average person. As many of you know, I'm currently working on a book right now, and I was writing about the value and importance of being consistent. The beauty of consistency is this: it is probably the #1 most important thing to be when teaching your dog, in addition to being patient and putting in time and lots of love, of course. But the wonderful thing about consistency is that you don't need any special talents. You don't need to be a good dog trainer to be consistent, to control your dog's environment. I kind of categorize that under being consistent. So if you're new and you're not really good at teaching your dog and you don't really understand the fundamentals and your timing is a little bit off because you're still working on developing that, you can be consistent. Henriette asks, What is your favorite type of dog? I like really high energy dogs. I'm a dog trainer though. High energy dogs they're typically the easiest to teach if you know what you're doing, and they'll typically do some of the more advanced, awesome, impressive behaviors and tricks and all of that fun, wonderful stuff. You know, I classify dogs basically in my own mind in 3 categories: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Now, basically a level 1 dog is a very low-key dog. He's happy to just lie back and chill out and do very little. Level 2 dogs are kind of in between, and of course level 3 dogs are your super high energy dogs. One of the things that's wrong is that we over-stereotype and overgeneralize breeds and characteristics, when in reality the first thing we need to consider with a dog is not their breed, but their energy level, because the spectrum of energy levels within breeds is extremely diverse, and that's going to tell you right off the bat if they're going to be a low maintenance or high maintenance dog. Now, level 3 dogs are your highest maintenance dogs, meaning you got to get out there and exercise with them and do a lot of work with them, but they really do allow you to teach some of the more sophisticated stuff. This question comes from John. He says, how about information into the challenges of training 2 puppies at once? You want to know what the biggest mistake people make when they get 2 puppies is? Well, getting 2 puppies probably. No, I'm just kidding. I think a lot of people fall in love with multiple puppies in a litter or something like that when they go to pick out a dog, and I can understand that. I get that completely. There are a lot of challenges with training 2 puppies. You cannot teach 2 dogs simultaneously. Dogs don't respond well when their teacher's attention is divided. So if you do have 2 dogs, what do? Well, you have one upstairs or in another room while you work with 1 dog at a time. Many people try and skirt that or think that they're the exception for some reason. And it's not to say that you won't be able to get some minimal training done, but if you're serious about teaching your dog, give them your undivided attention and you will get by far the fastest results. I hope that helps, but great question. This question comes from Jennifer. Jennifer says, do you have any suggestions to help curb a border collie's desire to bark and chase down bicycles? You have a city bike path that runs down your street, and one of your border collies becomes obsessed with watching for them and then barking at them. I do my best to keep her distracted, you say, but not even her favorite treats will stop or pull her away from what I assume she believes is her job. I'm gonna pick up on that last point first because that strikes a chord with me because I hear this all the time. Most people misdiagnose why their dog does stuff like this. They're quick to attribute it to their breed rather than the most likely answer, which is your dog is under-exercised mentally and physically. Dogs of every variety, of every breed, of every mixed breed that I've ever encountered, there are tons of variations there where dogs will chase and bark at bicycles, cars, runners, everything. You said that she'll sit there and she'll wait. So you have noticed that the behavior is likely to occur. Remember, the best time to correct unwanted things like this is to correct your dog before the action occurs. So this requires you giving your undivided attention to her and making sure that you prioritize look at me. You'll need to get really good at the leave it, look at me combo. A recent video teaching your dog to stay at doorways, we did a really good lesson on the leave it, look at me combo. That's required if you ever want your dog to listen to you in a distracting situation. And I'll have that link in the description. You're probably not exercising her appropriately in the form of fetch. Remember, exercising a high drive dog needs to entail exercising them in your company. That's why fetch is such a wonderful thing. Just letting them go on a long walk or run around with other dogs doesn't really satisfy really high energy dogs like that. Remember, I mean, these dogs were bred to work with people, and they're most satisfied, they at least seem to be most satisfied when they are engaging with a human being. For those of you that would like to have a guaranteed answer from me on your question, you can make a contribution to our Patreon campaign. That's our crowdfunding effort. That's how I raise the funds to be able to fund a lot of the videos that we do and really devote all of my time to giving you advice to how to teach your dog. So I'll have that link in the description, patreon.com/ZachGeorge. Like me on Facebook too, facebook.com/TheZachGeorge. We just crossed 70,000 likes. I cannot believe it. That's amazing. Thank you. Don't forget to pick up your Rapid Rewards treat pouch. It's totally awesome. And again, you can get anything you want on here if you get 12 or more made, or you can just get it blank. It'll function very, very well, so I love this. Tell me what questions you might have in the comments below. Click thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Here are some other videos you guys can check out. Teach your dog how to stay when the front door is open. It's so important that all dogs know how to do this. If you need to know how to introduce a new dog to your current pet, see that video. A good game of regular fetch can resolve so many issues. I'll show you all the steps to teach a solid fetch. Thanks again, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.